I first met David when we went into his studio to do a band photo of a project I played in at the time called Bubba. And I learned right away that Dave was doing the most excellent portrait work and photos for all of the same bands around town who were my clients. From that point on, Dave and I ended up gravitating together because we were both involved in serving the music industry a bunch. And I always needed band promo shots and headshots done for my clients. So I was able to keep Dave pretty busy with that type of stuff. And, you know, over the years we ended up collaborating on countless CD cover projects for local Santa Fe bands and recording artists. And we had a blast with it. And then the more that I ended up working with Dave, I found that it was really exciting to be working so much with the photographer who wasn't afraid to think outside of the box. Dave did all kinds of experimental lighting techniques. He would do double exposures, and he would do things where he would light up the subject just with a flashlight. And we did a lot of these special effects for CD covers that we worked on. And I found that to be really a lot of fun. I learned that David and his very charming pit bull, Marlin, lived in a small home in the barrio that he had remodeled really beautifully. And over the years, I visited Dave and Marlin there often, and we certainly enjoyed lots of really great barbecues in the barrio at Dave's spot. A lot of us who were playing in these bands that were being photographed by Dave during that period of time started referring to him as the photo boy a lot. And that nickname just really stuck. Here I have some of Dave's archives and stuff. I got a acid-free box with some of his best band photos and stuff.
So were these all together like this?
And they were. This is mostly shots of headshots and bands and stuff like that. That's Bubba from about 1993, 94. I don't know who this doll is. Beautiful creature, nice photo. There's Steve Hill and the Steve Hill Experiment.
I like that.
That's kind of cool, huh? And there's John O'Manson and his mighty steed. That's Steve Hill and Company. Chris Toast and Company.
This will be like really valuable stuff as documents. So I'm guessing she was a model because he was, doing books for models.
It does look that way. There's JB and the Night Flyers. That's kind of a nostalgic rush for me.
Santa Fe in '89. I didn't have a job, so I got a job at the camera store in Vargas Photo Supply. And I met Dave there. That's where I actually met Dave across the counter. But I didn't get, I got to know him because he was chatty. When I started working with Frank Howell, because he worked next door with Valor. And the friendship solidified from then. It was usually based around photography, still photography.
Right around the time that I first met you and Dave, you were doing a radio show that you had a lot of fun with.
Right.
Tell me a story about that.
Well, there were a couple that come to mind. One was when we interviewed this dude that claimed to be an alien from Mars, and he came dressed up in a gorilla suit from his head down to his ankles, and total fur. And we didn't know what the story is with this dude, but we had him live on the air, and he was talking about how the feds are after him, and he has to talk really high because the FBI was listening. you know, and we thought this was just great. And Dave was just captivated by this. There was nothing more compelling to Dave than someone making a fool out of themselves right in front of him. So this was sanctioned, though. I mean, we were on the air, and he could just do this publicly. So he was in heaven. And this went on and on. We'd have this guy in like 30, 40 minutes on our hour show. And just when it broke down, the time ended, and the guy said, "I got to get out of here quick." He took off 5 minutes before the hour when we closed down shop on the radio. And we heard this scuffle in the parking lot, and honest to God, this guy's pinned up against the wall, and there's 3 guys with FBI coats that were pushing him against the wall and cuffing him and throwing him down on the ground, and Dave was just ecstatic. He was in hog heaven. So that's one story that comes to mind.
I met Dave back in the early 90s. I want to say it was 1993 when I was working at the biggest club in Santa Fe called The Edge. And he came by for a drink, and I think I was working as the fry cook at the time. I worked my way up from like fry cook to door girl, coat check girl, to bar back, and then bartender. And yeah, we got along from the get-go like a house on fire. And he became pretty much like a big brother to me. He was somebody who had like an unflagging sense of justice, and he had a real sense of right and wrong. And that's one of the things I think I loved about Dave is, you know, no matter what the circumstances, he had a core of cool about him, and he always had your back.